welcome to Beginners Yoga at the Hatha Yoga Center in Seattle, Washington. I'm Chris, and I will be guiding you this evening through our practice. A lot of people will come and ask me, how do I need some stretches for my lower back because I have back pain. And do you have any ideas? Is a common thing that people ask me. And so somebody asked me that the other day if I had any stretches for the lower back. And he didn't tell me much about his situation, but I referred him to come to, take some of the classes here at the Hatha Yoga Center. But I thought tonight maybe I'd try to focus a little bit more on the subject of lower back stretching and strengthening, and just kind of do a well-rounded practice around that, which is pretty much what we do every time here anyway, but maybe a little bit more specific to that tonight, so that I can then, because I don't think he's watching this live broadcast, I can then direct him to it specifically. So maybe tonight, just starting here, I'm sitting on a block. You could be also sitting on a cushion or elevating your hips a bit to get more comfortable sitting on the floor if that's not a regular thing that you do. Sometimes it can be challenging. You could also sit up on a chair. And if you're going to do that, I would try to find something that has a pretty firm seat so that we can find our spine and find our breath here for a few moments to begin. So settle into your seat wherever you are. Let your seat be heavy and kind of move around a little bit, feeling into the kind of the way that you sit. Sometimes we sit more heavily into one side of our body and you can feel it more in one sit bone. So just kind of making it more even. And see if you can kind of relax the lower body and let it be grounded, and then feel your spine lengthening up. And we're looking for a neutral spine. So we naturally have curves in our spine. So we're kind of trying to find those curves. So you might feel for bringing your head back so that it's balanced on top of your shoulders. And you could do that by just kind of drawing your skull back a little bit and keeping the chin, we're not trying to tip the head when we do that. Keeping the chin slightly tucked, kind of opening and broadening in the chest, letting your arms hang. You could bring your hands, palms facing down to begin with. And then just feeling what it feels like to be in this upright position, open, somewhat relaxed, but still upright, and there's a sense that you're lengthening up through the crown of the head and that you're grounding down into your seat. And so take a couple breaths there. So starting now to bring your attention to the breath. Noticing if your breath feels a certain way, if it feels sticky at all, or if it feels like it's not smooth, or if you feel like your inhale's a little bit more challenging than your exhale, or just noticing and just bringing more of your attention to the breath. You could close your eyes, that can be helpful. And then notice if you have gathered any tension in your jaw or shoulders, anything that you can release right now that will help. Hi there. Yes, I can speak louder. A little louder. So just relax and find this balance and take a few more conscious breaths here. So when you inhale, you can feel how your rib cage and your chest expand to accommodate the breath, and you might be able to feel how your diaphragm is moving down, which puts a little bit of pressure into your abdomen. So you might allow your abdomen to relax a little bit, to expand as you inhale, and then as you exhale, pushing the air out from the bottom up, and so at the very end, you might feel your belly drawing in to help with the exhale. So inhaling and exhaling a few more times consciously. Try to relax your face. And then you could bring your hands together at your heart and just pause for a moment. Sometimes it's nice to set an intention for your practice. You could do that now if you'd like. Taking a breath, and then sweep your arms out to the sides, really stretching and reaching. And you could bring your gaze up and your palms could come together. You could bend your elbows and bring your palms back through the center. We'll just do that 2 more times, just really slowly, keeping the length in your spine and reaching out, spreading your hands like you're gathering up the air. Bringing it back down. 1 more time, inhale the arms up. Reaching and bringing it back down. And then bring your left hand out to the side and reach your right arm up. You could look up underneath the arm. Margaret, do you have any requests? Anything you'd like to work on tonight? So really ground your right sit bone, reaching through the fingertips. You can look straight ahead or up or down, but keep your neck long. And then come over to the other side. We're just starting out slow. I'm kind of thinking about lower back stretching and strengthening. Reaching and then back to center. And then you could walk your hands forward, just coming into a little forward bend. Lengthening your spine, kind of lifting up in your shoulders, in the back of your head. And walking hands back in, and then do a little seated cat-cow. So rounding back, tucking the pelvis, drawing the belly in, and then letting the shoulders come forward. You could let your neck extend, so draw the chin up. And then as you come back, drawing the chin towards the chest, rounding. Exhale all the air out. A couple more times like that. Inhale as you come forward. Exhale as you round back. Letting your neck move. And then coming back to center, and then just do a little stirring in your seat. So kind of moving your torso around in circles, feeling into your hips, moving the belly and breathing, kind of letting the head stay on top of the shoulders, be along for the ride, and then move in the opposite direction. You might feel a little looseness in your upper body as you do this, trying to shake off some of the computer postures and be a little less stiff and tight in our upper bodies. Coming back to center. I'm just going to take a peek here, and then we're going to alternate nostril breathing. Definitely, we can do that for sure. So let's come up to stand. Actually, I need to set my glasses down here. And let's do a little bit more of that kind of loosening of the upper body just by standing still and feel like you have a pencil on top of your head. So find your standing mountain pose. So bring your head back a little bit and broaden in your upper chest. So feel your strong legs. Let your arms hang. And then as if you have a pencil on your head and you're drawing circles on the ceiling. So first just moving your head, really small circular motions of the head. And you might feel like your torso is not moving at all here, just your neck and your head. Like you're drawing little circles on the ceiling, and then switch and draw them in the opposite direction. So you may be going counterclockwise and clockwise. And then just start to make the circles bigger. Now you can really start to move the head. Like you're circling, making circles on the ceiling. And then maybe you'll bring your upper body into it a little bit. Just let it be kind of loose. So starting out with this kind of sensation of looseness in your upper body, then switching, making the circles in the other direction. I'm going to move my camera, so just circling back to center. And then coming to the front of your mat, just let your arms hang and do a little bit of twisting like this. So first keeping your feet planted, and then you might start to just pick your feet up on either side and Maybe you can turn a little further if you do that. And then just coming back to center. And come back and find your standing mountain pose. So really grounding into your feet and feeling the strength up your legs, feeling how your back stays neutral right now. So your sacrum is grounding, pubic bone, sternum lifting. Bring your hands together at your heart and reach your arms up. And lifting your gaze, stretching, continuing to ground the sacrum and lift up the whole front of your body. So you're lifting up through your pubic bone, through your sternum, lifting your gaze. And then exhale, come forward, long spine, coming into your forward bend. And take a couple of breaths here, just finding your long spine. You could bring your hands to your thighs or to your shins and kind of push a little bit to lengthen the spine, lifting your belly. Again, feeling for this neutral spine, so that means you have a little curve in the low back, your head and shoulders are staying lifted, so you're not rounding forward. Nice deep breath, conscious breath. And then we're gonna step the left foot back and bring the knee down. And just coming up. And you could bring your hands together, clasp your hands, and push out through your hands to stretch your wrists. And you could even round your back a little bit. So like you're tucking your pelvis, you're gonna feel your left glutes working for a moment. And then come back to neutral, release your hands, come all the way up. And lift the gaze, find your breath. And taking a couple breaths here. And then sweep the arms back, clasp your hands at your sacrum and stretch into your shoulders. You could bring your hands out behind you or keep them down, but just coming into the stretch of the front of the chest. And then release the hands. Let's walk the right foot forward. Keep dropping through the tailbone and sacrum and coming forward a bit. You can bring your fingertips down or you can stay lifted, but coming deeper into the stretch of the front of your left hip. Nice deep breath. And then maybe bringing your left hand down by the right foot and just taking a twist. You can open up into the twist or bring your hand back to the sacrum. So just breathing. Keep kind of hugging the right knee in and drawing your right hip back. You could lift the gaze, just take another breath, and then bring the right hand down. And let's step back to hands and knees and do a couple of cat-cow. So spread your hands and find your tabletop position. And then start to round the spine like a cat. Exhaling, really expanding in the upper back, tipping the pelvis, taking the inhale and arching and moving back and forth. You might like to come up, the next time you come up into cat, you might come up onto your fingertips and pause for a moment. And then coming back to cow, and maybe don't come so deep into the arch of your low back, and keep the shoulders and the head lifted, so you're more like, my friend calls this a proud lion. And then from there, step back to, or roll back, however, tuck your toes and roll back up to down dog, or you could step back. So coming into your downward facing dog and stretching it out, bending into one knee and the other. You can kind of dip your shoulder on one side and the other. And breathing. You could also kind of let your head go a little bit. Let your neck relax just a little bit. Bending the knees as much as you need to. Lifting your tail. And then let's exhale and come forward into plank. And that could be with the knees down. Really press into the floor and lift up. You can also lift the knees. Take a breath or two here. Really resisting gravity. Your whole body. And then maybe with the knees down, elbows right by your sides, coming all the way down to the floor. And you could sweep your hands back, keeping the tops of your feet on the floor. Try to spread your toes on the floor so you can feel the tops of your feet, the whole top of the foot touching the floor. And then maybe a little side to side. And rolling over the belly. And coming back to center. You could lift the toes. Keep the neck long, breathing. Nice steady breath. Steady gaze. 2 more breaths here. And release. Just make a little shelf for your head. Bring your forehead down and just rock your hips. Release your lower back. Hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck your elbows in by your sides. And press back up to downward facing dog. And you can come through prayer to do that. And let's take the left foot up and over the right foot and lift the left hip. Wrapping your elbows in and reaching through your hands. Feeling your waistline lengthening on the left side. And then stepping back through center and stepping your right foot up and over. You can bring the sole of your right foot to the floor, maybe lifting your left heel. And lifting your right hip. Breathing. Nice steady breath. Lengthening up the right side of your body. And then stepping back through center. And then from there, we're going to step the left foot forward, this time coming up into the lunge. And again, let's do that stretch where we tuck our pelvis. So you're going to engage a little bit here to do this. Press through your hands and kind of round. A little engagement in your glutes. So you'll feel it in your quads when you do that, and then release that. Let your arms come up. Resuming a more neutral position. Lifting your gaze. And then again, sweeping the hands back. Clasp your hands and just lengthen up. Watch for the head to go forward. Instead, kind of draw it back. Draw the chin in a bit. And then release your hands. And we'll come forward. And you might get to have a little sensation of engagement here to protect the front of your hip. You're not jumping into it. You're still lifting. And you're, in a sense, you feel like you're tucking the pelvis here pretty hard, even though you have a lot of arch in your back, to get back to more neutral in the lumbar spine and the lower back. You can have the hands on your knee or on the floor. If you can do that, just another breath. And then we'll take the twist on this side, so bringing the right hand down by the left foot. You can have a block under your hand if you need to, and you're just going to open up into the twist. Maybe the left hand comes to the sacrum or reaches up. Again, kind of hugging the left knee in and drawing the left hip back. And then release that, and we're going to step forward into our forward bend with our feet about hip width. And just moving a tiny bit, maybe bending into one knee and the other, a little swaying. And one more breath here, complete conscious breath. And then this time, sweep your arms out to the sides like we did at the beginning, feeling slowly like you're gathering up the air. And then the palms will come together. You can bend your elbows, bringing your hands down through center. And pause. Let's let the arms hang. Just let that go. I'm just going to take a peek, letting your arms swing. In case Margaret is still there and has any other... No. So coming back to center, and And let's let the arms come up again. Reaching up, lengthening up, letting the shoulders slide down the ribcage, reaching through your fingertips, stretching the front of your body. Exhale, come forward, long spine again. So you're moving through the hinge at the hip. And then from here, we're going to step the right foot to the back of the mat. And we're going to come up into warrior one with the back knee bent. As much as needed. You can bring your hands, just bring your right hand onto the belly and the back, left hand onto the lower back, so you're not tipping forward. You've got this neutral position of your lower back, and you're going to stay there. If you straighten the back leg at all and you start to tilt forward, then just keep the back knee bent, letting the arms float up. So we're working with a neutral position of our pelvis and spine here. Finding your breath, steady breath, steady gaze, relaxing your face, keeping the head balanced on top of the shoulders, no stiffness in your neck, let it be kind of fluid. One more breath here, then bringing your right hand down. Again, you can use a block if you need to bring the floor up a little bit, opening up into the twist here. So keep drawing your left hip back. You can bring the hand back to the sacrum, or you can lift the arm. And just another breath, opening the chest, bringing your hand down, step back to downward dog. And you can bend the knees quite a bit. You can move a little bit. And then maybe we'll take an arm variation. So you could really plant your right hand, wrap your right elbow in, and then lift your left hand, bringing it back to the sacrum, back to the hip, and kind of opening up the left shoulder. So you're in this three-limbed dog. Then replace your left hand and lift the right hand back up. And open the right shoulder, wrapping the left elbow in, sliding your left shoulder blade. And reaching forward again. And pause. And then let's bring the knees down. And find your tabletop position here again. And let's extend the left leg out to the side with your toes pointing straight forward. And do your cat-cow like that. So tucking, you probably have a little more mobility than you do with your both knees down. Be able to really tuck and move the pelvis. Might feel different in the upper back. And just one more time. And then planting your right hand right underneath the shoulder, open up into the twist. So lifting your left arm, stacking your shoulders, opening the chest. And then bring that hand back down, step that knee in, and we'll extend the right leg out to the side. And try a couple cat-cows with the leg out to the side. So moving with the breath. And then we'll come back to our neutral position and open up into the twist of your upper body. So you're stacking your shoulders, lifting and lengthening up, and then bringing the hand down, stepping the knee in. And just do a couple cat-cows, just round and arch the back. And come back to center again to your tabletop position. So kind of keeping those shoulder blades snug on the back of the rib cage. We'll reach back with the left foot and tuck the ball of the foot into the floor. And just kind of rocking a little bit, feeling into the back of the lower leg on the left side. And letting that foot come up so that you're pressing back through the heel and toes are pointing down. Take a couple breaths. And then we'll round to the back and draw the knee in. And then inhale, extend. And draw the knee towards the nose, rounding, exhale. Inhale, extend. Exhale, round. Inhale, extend. One more time. Exhale, round. Inhale, extend. And pause. You can circle your hips a little, come out of the wrists, take a break. You can even turn your wrists back and just take a moment there. Stretching. And then back to your hands and knees, finding tabletop again. So really kind of feeling your shoulder blades snug on the back of the rib cage. Reach back with your right foot and tuck your toes. So you're kind of rocking back into the heel, into the ankle, back of the leg a couple times. And then let that foot float up and pause for a moment, keeping the sacrum pretty level. Nice steady breath. And then on the next exhale, round, drawing your knee to your nose. Inhale, extend. Rounding and drawing knee in. Exhale, inhale, extend. Exhale, round. Inhale, extend. And last one. Exhale, round. Feel your upper back expand. Inhale, extend, and pause. And again, just circle the hips a little in one direction and the other. And then we'll just slide forward onto the forearms and come into Sphinx pose. So bringing the elbows just a little bit in front of the shoulders, keeping wide in your chest. The tops of your feet are on the floor, kind of driving your heart and your belly forward, stretching the belly. And then you might move a little bit with your neck, just turning the head from side to side. Maybe looking back over your shoulder. And then let your elbows come further forward. And you can bring your thumbs underneath the chin and kind of stretch the skin of your chin. You do your palms under there too. It's a little more intense. So you're coming into a deeper extension of your neck. If it feels uncomfortable or painful at all, don't do it. But it's good to get into extension and also to stretch this tissue here in the front of the throat and the chin. And release that. You could stretch your arms all the way out. Bring your forehead down and release your lower back and rock your hips. And then come back to bringing your, making a little cushion for your head. And maybe bringing your chin down to your hands. Let's lift the right leg up and reach back through the toes so you could keep your left leg relaxed. So just lifting the thigh up, keeping the pelvis on the floor. And then place that down and try the other leg, lifting that leg up. Relax the right leg. So engaging the back of the left butt muscles and the thigh muscles. And then release that. Just release your hips for a moment. And then keeping your upper body kind of down, let's lift both legs. So taking a couple breaths there. And then bend your knees. And extend. One more time, bend the knees. You can keep your heels together. And extend, keeping the thighs lifted. Maybe bringing your heels out and then in. You'll feel it in your glutes. Go slow. And release. And rock your hips a bit. Bringing your hands under your shoulders, tuck the elbows in by your sides and push back up to your downward facing dog. Coming through your prayer and then lifting up. And then you could try maybe another variation of lifting your right hand and reaching back for your left lower leg, stretching into the back of the shoulder, right shoulder, and wrapping your left elbow in. And then bringing your right hand down, lifting the left hand and reaching back for the right lower leg or ankle. Nice, big, deep, steady breath. And release that. And then we're going to step the right foot to the front of the mat. Coming up into this Warrior One lunge with your back knee Bending and letting the arms come up. Coming a little deeper into the bend of the front knee. Keeping the pelvis neutral, breathing. Feeling your feet, especially your front foot, really planted firmly on the floor. And then taking the twist, bringing the left hand down by the right foot, opening up into the twist. Maybe the hand comes to sacrum or arm lifts. Keeping the head lifted, and then stepping forward. Again, into the forward bend. Long spine. And then circling the arms out, coming all the way up, lifting up, lengthening, hands come together at the heart. Pause for a moment, and let the arms hang again. Just kind of loosening in the upper body, releasing a little bit. Nice, deep breath. Being really conscious of your breath. And coming back to center. And finding your standing mountain pose again. And just try a little side bend. So keeping your feet about hip width, let your right hand slide down the leg until the point where you feel like you can't go any further. You could let your head be a little bit relaxed, not totally crunching the neck, but and then come back up and slide your left hand down. It's easy to want to lift the right shoulder, but keep it kind of relaxed. So you're contracting on the left side, lengthening on the right side, coming back up, and then lengthen your arms up, and clasping your left wrist with your right fingers, with your right hand, taking a side bend like this. Now with the arms up, you could look up. Just keep the head, again, not forward, keeping it right on top of the shoulders. So again, you're kind of contracting the right side and lengthening up through the left side. Come back up through center and side bend in the opposite direction. Clasping your right wrist with your left hand and kind of pulling on the arm to intensify the stretch, and coming back up, reach up, and come forward into your forward bend. Maybe your fingertips can touch the floor, or maybe the palms, but you're keeping your long spine. And then we're going to walk our feet back to downward dog. So you might have to bend the knees a lot. Walking back. And then walk your hands back so they're like halfway through the mat, where you can come into like this tiny puppy-shaped downward dog. So you're on your fingertips, and then really lift under your armpits, like you're filling up your armpits with air or something. And maybe you could come up under the balls of your feet. You could lift your heels, and so this is like a puppy pose, tiny downward dog. And then let your heels come back down, keeping that feeling of space under the armpits. And then walk your hands forward again. Walking out, back out to your big dog. And let's lift the left, or let's say right leg up. So keep your hips square. And then open the hips, stack your hips, and bend your right knee. And then straightening that leg back up. And we'll draw the knee forward, round your spine, coming into pigeon. So keeping your hips square, coming up onto fingertips, lengthening up. And keeping your hips in that place as you slowly come forward, maybe to your forearms. Now find your breath here. Nice deep, steady breath, feeling the breath in the back of your rib cage, the back of your body. Taking a few breaths here, so you're stretching into your outer hip muscles, your rotators on the back of the right hip. You might feel it elsewhere, but that's the main place where you're probably feeling it. If you don't feel it there, bring your knee out to the side a bit more, towards the edge of the mat or beyond. Just taking a couple more breaths. And then let's take a twist. So you could bring your left forearm across the front of the mat, reaching for your right knee, sweeping your right hand back to the sacrum, or you can also come up onto the hand and reach for the foot. So either one of those variations. And if you can get your ankle with your right hand, then you can kind of pull the ankle into the hand to open up the right side of the chest. Trying not to kind of collapse over to the side, so keeping centered and lifting, breathing, feeling the breath completely. The full inhale and exhale. Then releasing that foot, switching your hands, so bringing the right hand down. You could reach back with your left hand, and maybe you're staying here and letting, the ankle kind of pull into the hand to stretch into the left side of your torso and your psoas. Or you could also come into this quad stretching variation, so you're bringing the heel towards the buttock, just bending the knee, maybe spinning the fingertips over the top of the foot. It's pretty deep, so either one is fine. And watching for the head to drop, keeping it lifted, and the chest is open. And then we'll release that. And then just leaning to the right, and bring your knee up into the sole of the foot. So you're in this position. I'm gonna shift a little. So two kind of 90-degree angles with your lower legs, with your legs, I should say. And then just turning into the twist carefully, not a deep twist. You're not trying to push too hard there. And breathing. And then let's bring the back leg all the way around. And so two options. You could keep your right knee bent and bring the sole of your left foot all the way over the thigh, and then slowly let your left sit bone come back towards the floor. If that's just too much, straighten your right leg. In any case, you're trying to feel your sit bones really grounding into the floor and lengthening up through the crown of the head. And then taking your right hand underneath your left thigh, reaching back behind you with your left hand, you're just turning your spine into the seated twist. So keeping yourself grounded and turning. And maybe you're looking back behind you with your eyes, completing the twist, breathing. It's a little more difficult to breathe in the twist. So back off a little and find the breath, and then just kind of exhale into the twist. And then turning back towards the front. You might be able to take the edge of the sole of your left foot and extend your leg, and then lean back. I'm going to turn so you can see it a little better. Leaning back and opening up your left hand. You're still sitting up. You're not really rounding at all. So your left leg might not come up off the floor too high, but you could also use a strap. So the way to do that is to take your strap and put it around your foot to extend your arm. So either way, one more breath there. And then release that. Bring that foot back over onto the other side of your right thigh. And then we'll take a counter twist. So bringing your left arm onto the inside of your left knee and just opening into the twist in the opposite direction. This is what we do with pregnant ladies because they can't twist this way. Keeping the lifting up through the sternum, through the crown of the head, and then turning towards the front again. So you may, at this point, you may still have your right leg bent, or you may have your leg extended. We're going to come into this pose called steer pose, so we're stacking our knees, and you can do that with your right leg straight as well. So if you have any discomfort in the right knee at all, just straighten the leg. And so we're just slowly hinging at the hip and kind of leading with our heart if we're coming forward at all. Maybe just sitting here is enough without any forward motion. And breathing. You could also take your hands and you could clasp your elbows to open the chest a bit behind you, just grabbing your elbows. Or if you like to bring your hands into prayer behind you, you could do that. These days I prefer reaching for my elbows rather than trying to get my hands into prayer. But you can take your variation. And then releasing the arms, and then we're gonna bring the right leg back again, the left leg back, and step back up to downward dog, just coming back to kind of even it all out. Then we'll let the left foot float out, and we'll stack the hips and let the knee bend. And straighten it back up, and we'll draw it very slowly forward, rounding the spine and bringing it down. The left knee is angling out, and we'll come into pigeon, but we'll start in this upward facing pigeon. So lifting the heart, you might be on your fingertips, and then slowly walking forward, coming to the forearms. And finding your breath, so watch for the head wants to drop, just keep it lifted. Nice steady breath. Notice if you have any additional extra tension in the jaw that you can let go of. Sometimes it helps to just gently open the mouth and stretch it gently. And then again, feeling for the breath in your back. Puffing up the back of your body a little bit with the breath. Just take 2 more breaths here. Maybe Ujjayi breathing, so you're just gently closing off the back of the throat. And then we'll bring the right arm across the mat, reaching for your knee with the hand, and then the left hand comes back behind you, coming into the twist, or as I prefer, coming up onto the hand and reaching for the foot. So taking a couple breaths here. And of course, when you're twisting, your neck is turning, but not into any pain or anything. Just turning it to the point where it starts to get sticky. You can turn your eyes a little bit back behind you. Opening the chest, keeping the crown of the head lengthening up. So you're probably feeling it. If you're in this position I'm in, you'll probably feel it in the front of the right belly and hip, quad. Then releasing that and bringing your left hand down. Maybe reaching back for your foot, if you can get it, for your ankle with your right hand. And you can stay in this position. Or if you can't, just bring your hand back to the thigh. Or you can also turn the fingertips over the top of the foot and come into the quad stretching variation. You might notice that one side of your body is a little different than the other in the way that you feel it. So like my quads on the right side feel quite a bit tighter than on the left side. My right outer hip, same thing. And then just releasing that. And then just like we did on the other side, we're going to bring the right knee up into the sole of the left foot. So you have kind of 2 right angles with your legs, and just gently turn, not torquing into the lower back much. You're just kind of coming into a twist Maybe drawing the belly in a bit. And then unwinding, and we'll swing the right leg all the way around. Again, you can keep the left knee bent or straighten your left leg. Your choice. So maybe keeping the right hip lifted for a moment and kind of hugging the knee in, and then slowly letting the sit bone come down to the floor and feeling both sit bones grounding. As you lengthen up, and then we'll reach your left hand under the right thigh, bring your right hand back behind you, just turning into the twist, so you're turning your spine. Nice, steady breath. And then unwinding. And we'll take the foot. So maybe you can reach your left hand for the outer edge of your right foot and lift it up. And then the right hand comes back behind you. You can also, again, you can use a strap or a belt or whatever you have at home. So your choice. So try to come to the front of the sit bones, sitting up tall. Nice steady breath. You can look back behind you with the right palm open. And then bring that foot back down. And we'll take the opposite twist, bringing your right arm on the inside of the right knee and turning in the opposite direction. Feel it in the back of the right shoulder. Then turning back towards the front, towards center, and stacking the knees. And you can do that with your left leg straight as well. So you might be coming forward. You could also reach the arms back and clasp your elbows. Again, that could also be a reverse prayer, so bringing your prayer behind your back, your palms together. Pretty big stretch. And then maybe there's some hinging happening at the hip. And just taking another breath. Feel how your sit bones want to lift up, kind of keep them grounded, keep the head and shoulders lifted. And then release your arms, and let's swing the right leg back. Step up to downward dog one more time. And just moving a little bit. And then let's step the right foot all the way to the front of the mat, and then turn and come into a wide-legged forward bend. So you might bend into one knee and the other. And let your upper body be kind of relaxed, side to side, moving into the elbows and the shoulders and the knees and the hips. And then just kind of coming back to center. And let's walk, keeping your feet on the floor, walk your hands out. Come into like a plank pose with your legs kind of wide. And then walk yourself back, lifting your hips. Let's do that one more time. And then just pause. You can bring your hands back behind the neck and kind of traction your head. And then release that. And maybe you could clasp your hands behind you and let your arms come up and over. Keep your shoulders and head from rounding forward. Maybe you could turn a little bit, side to side. And then release the hands. And walk your hands over towards the left foot or ankle, lower leg. Keep drawing your right hip back so you're stretching all the way from the hip all the way up through the shoulder. Lengthening through the waistline. You'll feel the stretch in your rib cage. Breathing. And then walking hands over to the right lower leg, ankle or foot. Let your neck relax. Find your nice, steady, deep breath. And then walk hands back to center. And again, bend into one knee and the other. And then walk your hands out again into that crazy, wide-legged plank pose. And then back in. And then let's just turn your toes out a little bit. And let's come into like a sumo kind of squat with your legs wide so you're bending. And you can bring your hands on the insides of your thighs. So you're pushing your knees apart and come into a little twist on one side. Keep pressing those inner thighs. Dipping your left shoulder. And then taking the twist to the other side. Dipping the right shoulder. And then maybe just side to side a couple times. And back to center and come back to your forward bend. And just let it go. And then walk your hands around towards the front, the right foot. Stepping your feet hip width, letting your left foot kind of angle out towards the edge of the mat. And coming into this pyramid pose, so your legs are straight. You could walk your hands up so they're a little higher, whatever it takes to keep the long spine. And we're not pushing into the front knee, so keeping just a nice straight leg in the front, no hyperextension of your knee or hanging in the joint. You could kind of bend your right knee and press into the mound underneath the big toe and then straighten the leg as you draw the hip back. And then maybe you can bend into your right knee and lift your left foot up. So you're coming into Warrior Three. You could have your fingertips down and then maybe try lifting them up. Maybe the arms come out to the sides, press back through your left heel. You're in like an airplane, Warrior Three. And then fingertips come back down. Stepping your foot back to pyramid for a moment. So the hands can be up high if you need them to. Wherever you can keep this long spine. And then just turn, and we'll come to the other side. So we'll keep the feet hip width, so step your right foot out towards the edge of the mat. So find your feet on the floor, and then you might try that. Just press the mound under the left big toe into the floor, bend your knee, and then slowly straighten as you draw the left hip back. Taking a moment here. It's a big stretch for the back of the legs. Finding your neutral spine. And then bend into your left knee and lift your back foot, coming into a one-legged balance, Warrior Three pose. And then maybe the arms come up and out to the side, so you're like in an airplane. Really press back strongly through your right heel. And a little bend in the front knee. Whoops. And then bring the fingertips back down, foot back, turn again, and just bend into one knee and the other. And then we're going to come down onto the floor. So if you have a mat, you might just fold it up and set it off to the side. I'm going to keep my strap, and at home, hopefully, you have a ball. Margaret, do you have a ball at home? I hope you do. So I'm going to bring the camera down, lower, and see where I can be here so that you can see me. Right here, okay. So taking your ball and bringing it right underneath your lower back. And then press your tailbone into the ball and then tip it. So moving your pelvis without moving any other part of your body, really. The rest of your body is still. Tipping and tucking. So feeling how you can move. What are the muscles that help you to do this? How much mobility do you have in this way? And then press your tailbone into the ball and bring the legs straight up. If you don't have a ball, you can do this without the ball. You should get a ball though if you don't have one. It's a good thing to have around. So we'll start with one leg at a time. We're going to inhale the right heel towards the floor, extending through the heel, and then exhale back up as you press your tailbone into the ball. Inhale your left leg down, press tailbone down, and exhale back up. Inhale, we'll go one more time on each side like that. Press tailbone, exhale back up. Inhale the left heel down, pressing tailbone down. Exhale back up. Then we'll switch to two legs, so keeping heels together. Inhaling towards the floor. Pause, press your tailbone down, exhale back up. So trying not to use momentum, you're not swinging your legs, you're going slowly. Lengthening your belly, press tailbone down. Inhale, exhale back up. So you're inhaling down and exhaling up. Do that a couple more times. Trying to move kind of smoothly if you can. And the next time your heels come down, just hover for a moment, lengthen the belly, press out through your heels, and then let them come down to the floor. So you're laying over the ball, and you're extending your legs, so you're getting this nice stretch in the front of the hips, and you can kind of rock a little bit, side to side. This ball is a great thing if you're dealing with lower back stuff. You can use it in a lot of different ways. So you're stretching the front of your body, especially if you've been sitting a lot, you get crunched up in this area. I've been doing puzzles during this whole pandemic, and I have to really pay attention to my posture if I'm going to do puzzles, because you can get very engrossed in it, and then before you know it, you're all rounded over and crunching into the front of your hips. And so then walk your feet in, and you'll be here in this supported bridge position. And then just rolling the hips up and lifting the hips off the ball. Coming into bridge. This is good for the low back too. Pressing into your heels and lengthening up and using these muscles here, the glutes, kind of helping you lift up. And then rolling back down. You can come back onto the ball and just kind of roll around into the low back a little bit. And then we're going to do a little more with the ball, but set it off to the side for a moment. And then again, bringing your feet in by drawing them in by the hips, and let's roll up again. And maybe this time you're clasping your hands and kind of rolling your shoulders one at a time underneath you, keeping your neck curve there. Come up onto the balls of the feet and slowly release the hands and roll down really slowly. And then make your knees wide. Your feet wide, and knees. And your arms out to the sides. And let your knees go down towards the right. And then pick your left knee up first and open it up. Pretty soon your right knee has to come along, going towards the left. They come to the floor, and then to come over, pick up the right knee first, and the left knee will have to follow. So move like that, side to side a couple more times, bringing the knees down as far as you can. This is called deer pose. Picking up your left ankle and bringing it on top of the right knee, and kind of using that ankle, that foot, to kind of help secure the right knee down towards the floor, only if it's not hurting your knee. And then breathe all the way up into this, kind of the waistline, and even into the front of the rib cage and the front of the hip. Try to relax your upper body. Nice big breath into the right lung here, feeling that stretching. I mean, you're breathing into both lungs, but feeling the right side of the rib cage expand with the breath. And then release your foot and come back up to center and drop your knees over towards the right. Maybe you're picking your right foot up and putting the ankle on top of the knee, pressing it down towards the ground, feeling that big stretch all the way up the left side. If you have any discomfort in the knee, just take the foot off of it. We don't want to push into that. Breathing. Letting your breath be quite full here, feeling it up into the left rib cage and left lung. And then releasing that and bringing yourself back to center. Bring your hands back behind your head and lift your head up and draw your elbows up and stretch the back of the neck. So you're just kind of pressing your head back into your hands as you draw your head up. And then release it and bring it back down. Then let's draw the right knee in. You can keep your left leg bent. And then bring your right ankle on top of your left knee. You could kind of press into the top of the right thigh. So you're kind of pushing a little against it, and then you'll feel like you're getting some space in the front of the hip there. And then maybe you're picking the left foot up and bringing your hands back to grab for the thigh, pressing your right elbow into your left knee and maybe rocking a little bit side to side. You could release your hands then and bring your left hand on top of your right ankle and let that foot come all the way towards the floor. And then extend your right arm out towards the right and turn and look over your right shoulder. If you can't keep your hand on the ankle, that's fine. Just bring your arm out. But if you can reach for the ankle, you'll feel that stretch up into that right waistline in the front of the rib cage, and it's kind of an interesting stretch in the hip, and just a breath there. Nice deep breath. And then draw that leg back up. And unwind and bring your left ankle on top of your right knee, reaching through. Pressing your left elbow into the left knee and just rocking a little bit side to side, feeling the outer hip. And then releasing and bringing right hand onto the left ankle as you bring your left foot over into the twist, bringing it to the floor, the sole of the foot to the floor, extending your left arm. You can kind of press the left knee away. Gazing over your left shoulder. You might feel that's an interesting sensation there in the hip. Back here I feel it, and also kind of up into the, not so much on this side into the rib cage. On the right side I felt it more in the rib cage. This is more on my outer hip and kind of into the upper thigh. So both sides of the body, are different. Breathing, and then coming back up to center, and draw your knees in, just rocking side to side. And then you might reach for the soles of the feet if you can, coming into Happy Baby, and rocking side to side in Happy Baby. like you're almost going to roll all the way over, but then kind of push the knee into the floor and come back up and over. Feels kind of good on the back. You might be able to extend the legs, maybe not. No big deal, just try it if you want. And then draw the knees in again. And let's just extend the left leg and draw the right knee in towards your chest and take a twist. Maybe looking back over your right shoulder. Just an easy twist. And then back onto your back. And extend your right leg, draw your left knee in. And let it come over for the twist. Maybe gazing over the left shoulder. Nice breath, feeling your breath. Letting it be full and smooth. And then rolling back onto your back. And before we're going to do alternate nostril breathing, roll over onto your side. Let's take the ball for a quick roll, bringing it underneath your back and bringing your hands back behind your head. And just for a moment, rolling on the ball. So if you don't have a ball at your house, maybe you have a foam roller you could do this with. Or maybe you could get one of these balls on Amazon. There's a link on the Hatha Yoga Center live stream page. I think they're about $9. So just allowing yourself to have a moment with the ball. You could bring your hips down and come into fish over a ball. So the ball's in the kind of lower half of your rib cage. You can always put pillows underneath the head. So just taking a few more breaths here on the ball. I also like to get into kind of that, the lats and underneath my arm. Feels pretty good. And then maybe on the other side, evening it out. There's some trigger points under there. And just one more moment like that. And then just taking the ball off to the side again. Let's come back onto our back for a moment and just take a quick Shavasana. So stretching out and just let your body surrender. Let yourself be really heavy. I'm going to come to sit, but come onto your back and stay there for a few moments, feeling the effects of your practice. Just letting yourself close your eyes if that's comfortable. And take a couple moments before we come back up to do some pranayama, some breath work. So see if you can be really heavy and really surrendered and kind of feeling the effects of your practice this evening. Really letting go of your body, letting it be completely without any extraneous movement. So, movement will happen because of the breath, but see if you can surrender all other movements of the body and efforts. Just becoming more about the breath. So feeling the gentle breath coming in and out through the nose. And bringing this complete awareness of your breath with you as you roll onto your side again and come back to your seat. I'm going to sit on a block, so I'm up a little bit for my breath work or pranayama. And so alternate nostril breathing has been requested. So we usually take our right hand and we use our thumb to press just right at the top of where your soft tissue meets, there's bone there. just right there to close the nostril, and then we use the ring finger on the left side. So we'll just start by taking 2 or 3 nice complete breaths in and out through both nostrils. So inhale and retain the breath. Relax your shoulders, keeping length in your spine, and exhale. Drawing the belly in at the end of the exhale. Inhale. Filling the lungs, letting the belly expand, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Pause, retain the breath. Exhale. And now bring your hand up and closing off your right nostril. Inhale, left. And pause at the top. Retain the breath. Keeping the eyes closed, lifting the gaze, looking upward behind your closed eyes. Relax your shoulders. And then close left, exhale right. Really emptying the lungs, keeping length in the spine. Inhale, right. Pause at the top. You can bring your hand down if you want. Eyes are closed, lifting the gaze behind your closed eyes. Retain the breath. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Retain the breath. Lift the gaze. Closing left, exhale, right. Inhale, right. Retaining the breath, lifting the gaze, keeping some sense of ease in the upper body. Closing right, exhale, left. Inhale, left. One more time, retain the breath here. Closing left, exhale, right. Inhale, right. Retain the breath. You can bring your hands both down onto your thighs, pausing, keeping length, relaxing the shoulders. Exhale, both nostrils. Inhale, both nostrils. And then just resume your natural breathing. Just feeling the effects of that practice. Feeling a little more balanced between your left and right channel, sun and moon channel. And then you might bring your hands together at your heart, and you could pause, bowing your head to your practice, to your own inner teacher, your higher self, or your higher power. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining in. Nice to see you, Margaret. My people will be in touch with your people. And have a great evening.